Welcome or welcome back, whatever the case may be. Thanks for joining us on our podcast, Moorditj Education. Moorditj meaning excellent, awesome, great. And I'm joined, as always, by my main man, Laurence Fuster. This is episode 9, and we're going to be in this episode talking about bringing your artistry to your industry. Let's go into that a bit more. Now, Laurence, why did you want this particular theme as one of our episodes, bringing your artistry to your industry? Why is that special for you, this concept, this idea?
I think it's special because bringing yourself into everything you do, which, depending on the certain industry you're working in or studying in or just being in, it's important to bring your uniqueness,
Yes.
Bring your true self, and to bring something different. And don't be scared to show that. When everybody is abiding by what everybody's abiding by, there you are, standing out, showing colour in a black and white industry. When everybody is being the same and doing the same things and saying the same things,
Yeah.
be different. Be different.
Yes.
But
yes.
still work alongside those processes and their teachings of whatever industry you're in.
Sure,
Just
sure.
it's important to integrate your artistry into the industry you're in, to work together.
Crystal clear, crystal clear. Now, when you say, bring the colour into that industry that mainly is sort of black and white, so how do you think in our different industries, in our different walks of life, how do you think we're sort of failing and, falling back on black and white, sort of unthinking, maybe automatic processes, maybe uncritical, maybe towing the line, maybe having to conform? What are some of the issues that you see, like trying to give the same education for all students when students are different? What are some of the issues that you see with the failures at the moment in how we're doing things?
Well, one of the issues that I see is, we have all these great industries,
Yep.
And we all have our own uniqueness. We all have our own unique identity and our own unique ways of doing things, but we're not actually putting ourselves, who we truly are, into that place. When everybody's towing the line and working as everybody else does and where everybody else sees fit, it's a sense of not bringing your true self. So for example, in any kind of industry, be different. Be different. If you're working in a industry of helping others or, helping others in the mental health industry, and you understand why you have ventured into that industry in the first place,
Yep.
you must have a deep sense of connection and wanting to help people and wanting to help people transition out of whatever they're going through.
Yeah.
And to not just, it's important to understand all the rules and regulations and the processes,
Yeah.
but to integrate and bring yourself, your own uniqueness and identity within that as well.
Yep. I understand that. What are some of the reasons why that lead us to kind of conform? I mean, is it fear? Is it just like the easier road is just to toe the line?
It's the norm.
It's the norm.
Where well, when we get taught these things, depending on whatever industry we're in, we continue on with those teachings. We do what they tell us to do, and that's good. That's fine, you know, because obviously these certain people have worked in the industry for a long time.
It's useful procedures. And,
yes, useful procedures and processes and rules and regulations that you must know and abide by.
Yeah.
But don't lose your self-identity. Don't lose your uniqueness. Don't lose it. Incorporate it.
Yeah.
Don't let it wither away. Implement it.
Yeah. It sounds like it's going to be a challenging thing to do, to bring your uniqueness and creativity in industries that may be, you know, very established. Like I can imagine some teachers may be doing some different things, and then maybe another teacher saying, well, you can't do that. Or maybe even a principal saying, well, that's not the way to do it.
You can't do that because it's not following policy. But what this person's actually doing might be actually helping far more than what the normal teachings help.
Yep.
And how they help, you know? And then isn't that to make something better and to see the results and the progress and your uniqueness and your colour, isn't that what it's about?
Yeah.
Isn't that what it's about to, you know, to make the best out of it and to create something where everybody are learning and just taking that industry to the next step, because your uniqueness and having the courage to incorporate and implement your uniqueness in your own colour in a space where we don't. You know, I'm not saying nobody does it.
No,
but we need more of it.
Needs more of it, yeah.
And imagine certain industries when we have certain people that incorporate their uniqueness and their true colour and potential into these certain fields. Industry will just grow, you know.
So I guess like we were saying a little bit in the previous episode, episode 8, that leaders and teachers and educators, they will need to do their bit as well to create that safe space.
Yep.
Like here, my employees can be creative. I invite your personality. Would you say that's right? You know, educators,
Yep.
whoever's in charge and the leaders,
Yep.
they should be looking at their own...
In any organisation or business or, you know, industry, it is all about your colleagues. You know, if you have the greatest colleagues and the greatest people that work in that organisation, business or industry, that is just going to be the best.
Yep.
You know, because it's about the team. And if they bring their own uniqueness and diversity within that field, that will just, and if it picks up and if it takes it to the next step, that's amazing. That's amazing. You know?
Yeah.
But some people are scared. You know, a lot of people have, you know, made a lot of sacrifices and a lot they've gone above and beyond to build these things and to create these things and to work with these things.
Yes.
We're scared to lose that.
Yes.
We're scared to lose that.
I think especially also if you've created something, it can be difficult for the ego. You know, if I've created the policies and the procedures, and then an employee says to me, well, I think we could do it a bit differently, but I've created, my ego is
100%
under fire.
And it comes down to being open-minded, you know, having an open mind and allowing change and difference and uniqueness, and that's okay. Yeah, you know, it's important that we allow that. You know,
from an Indigenous perspective, what might an Indigenous student or employee be looking for in their teachers or their leaders or their educators and helpers?
Well, open-minded is one of them. Realness, authenticity, their craziness,
Yeah.
for example.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
mad scientists, but they're the best scientists because they're unique and they do things where other scientists don't because they're crazy and they're mad. But look at the achievements and look at the discoveries that these scientists have made.
So you need that little bit of craziness. Yeah.
Bit of craziness, you know. It takes it to the next level, you know, and not being afraid to show that, you know, and people see that, it's like, wow, this person can be who they are, have the courage to show who they are and not worry about judgment, and, you know, everybody's learning and everybody's laughing, everybody's having a great time as well. You know, and we're learning so much, and you know, it's a great look on character as well. You know, when you have people that are teaching and leading, they're not afraid to bring who they truly are.
Yeah. And I was going to ask you to a little bit expand on this because, you've already mentioned actually a few qualities, but what are those components of artistry? Before, you know, you're telling me about creativity, spirituality, your own perspectives. Are there any other components of artistry that we can draw on? Because some people might be thinking, well, artistry, I'm not an artist, but it goes beyond being an artist, doesn't it? What are some components of artistry?
I believe that, you know, you could be writing or being a great writer, but how you write and your message and the things you say and, you know, what you're incorporating is unique. Nobody expresses the way you express. Nobody, we don't understand these concepts. We're bringing a different light in whatever we're doing. It could be all sorts of different things.
So leaders and helpers and educators should really see their uniqueness as an asset.
As an asset.
Yeah, not as something that's weighing them down.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It shouldn't weigh you down because, you know, you obviously were passionate enough to join that space that you ventured in, you know, and to take that passion to the next step and to bring your true self and to, you know, come from a different space, different light, but still portray the same message but in a different way. That is very unique and different.
And I love that point that you often make is, you know, to go back and ask yourself why you're actually doing that in the first place. What are you there for?
100%. Because it's important to do the things that you want to do. You know, your calling, you know. What's the point of waking up every single morning unhappy of your job?
Yeah.
You know, what's the point of doing this when you don't enjoy it? You know, you do what you love doing and you will be successful.
Yeah. Now, how can we reconcile, you know, obviously a lot of people need a job for money.
Yes.
Now, we often find ourselves in that position where, well, I've got to do this anyway, or maybe I don't like it. How can we sort of balance that tension? Like, I need to do this job, I need to pay the bills, but I want to bring my artistry to what I do.
Get a job.
Yeah.
You know, get a job, but don't, if it's not your true passion, don't stick in it for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Work at a job where you can make a bit of income for yourself and pay the bills and the food and whatever you need, you know, the lights and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, have the courage to follow your dreams and your passions and what you truly want to do. You know, we might have this great job where we're making big bucks, and we got everything we need, but where it's not who we are. It's
unfulfilling.
Not, it's unfulfilling because it's not what we do. It's not what we want to do. We're just doing it because of the money. We're not happy about it because, you know, we wake up, you know, the money's good, but we're not happy because we don't have that sense of fulfillment. We're not fulfilled because we're not doing the things that we truly love doing. And imagine if we started to do the things that we love doing, and we actually started to venture down that road and, you know, bring and incorporate our true self and put our full potential and, you know, really dive into it with who we are and our own uniqueness and where we believe and how we can take this place to the next level. That's amazing.
Yeah. Now, one of the reasons, we were just talking before on a little break here, and one of the reasons that you're saying we should bring our artistry to the industry is to heal people. I found that very interesting because, you know, I'm always thinking, you know, to help people or to make them better. But you're bringing that dimension of healing in. You've mentioned healing a lot, this concept.
Yes. For me,
so what does that mean to be healed for you?
For me to be healed, that means to first of all let go of the things that weigh us down, to start to work with ourselves, to start to understand ourselves, to start to heal and patch up old wounds, and to start to reconnect severed ties. You know, that could be family, it could be ties within yourself, it could be culture or to the land, you know. But to bring that aspect of yourself, so for me, I want to go down, you know, the industry where we help people right now. You know, I'm doing my mental health, and but I'm going in this industry with something different because I want to bring who I am.
Yes.
I want to bring myself, and I want to bring and incorporate ways of doing things that I know would work because I've done it.
Yes.
And it has been very effective, but we don't do it in certain places or industries, you know. But if we know that this works and to put a spin on it, you know, and to incorporate ourselves and to not be ashamed and not of doing that and having the courage to do that, you know, it's healing within itself, and you're going to help and touch the hearts of a lot of people because you're coming from a different space, a space that you believe will truly take people and transform them, not just getting on a level where it's just talking this and that, but actually diving deep within the roots of the problem and actually being vulnerable and doing things as well, because it's important we can talk, but we must also do things. It's important that we do hands-on things as well.
Sure.
You know?
Now, you actually have first-hand experience of this kind of healing process that you're talking about. You know, you've been through it yourself. You've actually helped other people within the prison system to heal, and also through your program you wrote, a program of self-discovery. My first little question surrounding that is, was there a person or people who brought their artistry to their industry, maybe even, if I may be respectfully say so, maybe a fellow inmate? Maybe did they bring some artistry to your life?
Yes, there was.
Yeah.
One of my friends that was there with me and that was supporting me along that, he had some opportunities to facilitate the classroom and to, you know, run the program as well.
Right.
But this person, he brought his full self and his own uniqueness and his life experience and something different you know, he incorporated, you know, spirituality and different teachings, you know, ways of saying things and just different perspectives and views.
Sure.
You know, especially self-discovery, if we've had our own journey of discovery in some way, shape or form, you know, to teach others from all different angles and perspectives and views is very important, you know, and to put a bit of spin on it, incorporate a bit of colour into it.
Sure. Now, this guy, I'm just curious, this guy, when he brought his artistry, he brought himself, he brought his own authenticity. You said he brought spirituality as well. Was his approach on you, was it more like tough, like a reprimanding, like, you know, come on, you gotta come up, or was it more like gentle and coaxing, like, Laurence, think about this, think about that? Or was it more creative? It was a bit of both, wasn't it?
A bit of both.
Yeah.
Because in that, in the prisons and that, you know, you've got to be tough as well, but to be vulnerable at the same time.
Right.
You know, so there's got to be that balance. It can't just be tough and it can't just be vulnerable all the time. Because if you want to help people and, you know, show them the other way, it's important that you have to be tough in that process as well.
Yeah.
Mentally.
Yep.
You know, so having the courage to do it and by being vulnerable.
Yeah. Was he tough on you or gentle on you, or
we were good friends.
Good
very
friends.
Good friends.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't tough. It wasn't vulnerable. It was a mutual friendship.
Genuine
friendship.
Balance there. Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
You know, back and forth conversation and helping each other where we can and so especially in an environment like that, it's great to see, you know. But you know, we built a great friendship, a great bond, and we learned a lot about each other and ourselves within the process as well.
So he helped you, and I'm well aware that you tremendously helped yourself. I'm well aware of that. Now, once you'd been through that process of healing, and then you got to a point where, well, you're the leader now. You're teaching them. Now, what artistry did you bring to your teaching? Did you bring jokes? Did you bring painting? Did you bring toughness? Did you bring eye contact? I don't know. What's your art?
I brought realism.
Realism, yeah.
I brought myself. I brought vulnerability. I brought, you know, spirituality. I brought, you know, influence and motivation and inspiration as well. But the true incorporating colour into a black and white industry as a prison system was actually creating the program in the first place. In a black and white system that has never seen colour like such of the program. And that has never, because I was a mentor in there. I was mentoring younger people and I had the opportunity to run programs. But you know what? I'm going to now bring my colour. So I created my own program. I didn't just run their programs that is made by the prison system or the government. I brought my own colour and created my own program and put my own spin on it and you know, spoke about self-discovery and formed a great team and you know, so that was my colour within an industry that has never seen that.
No, that's crystal clear, mate. You brought your art was the program.
Yes.
You actually, you know, produced that you know, material, that resource.
And that was my colour.
That was your colour.
That's me bringing my colour into an industry that has rarely seen such colour.
Yeah.
You know? When we're talking, the program's still being facilitated to this day.
Is that right?
I speak to my friends and, you know, they get advice from me, I get advice from them, and the program's running very well.
Yeah. I wanted to ask a little bit about that. How is it going? What can you tell us about how it is going now? In previous episodes, we've talked a little bit about what the program is. It's a self-discovery program that you've written. It's now being used within the prison system, and that alone makes you an absolute, admirational, inspirational guest of honor on this podcast, because someone who has managed to do that is amazing. It's amazing. So yeah, what feedback have you had? How is it going in there? How is the program going?
The program's going really well, really well. Because there's two sides of it. We look at the awareness and then we look at the processes of everything. Some of the men in there are really learning a lot and discovering a lot about themselves. But it's hard as well. It's hard. It's not just one day of bringing up these topics and we found ourselves. No, it takes months. It takes years.
Yes.
It's a lifelong journey.
Sure.
But it's a stepping stone towards that journey that counts.
And is there anyone there on the inside who facilitates that program? Did you have to train them, or because I know your program is actually, it's kind of a self-study. It's like a guide. You can follow it yourself.
So it's a hand-down manual.
It's a manual.
Yes.
Yep.
So so I had to do a hand-down manual because, I wasn't being in prison for life, so I knew I was getting out sometime.
Right.
And by creating this program, if I left, what would happen to it? It would fall flat, wouldn't it?
Yep.
So I actually had to create these manuals and these guides for the next facilitators who would take it on board.
Yes.
Who want to facilitate the program.
Yeah.
And they've got these manuals where they know what to do, how to do, and how to run it.
Sure.
If they lose themselves, these are the guides to stay on path. This is the guidebook where you can stay and put yourself back on track.
So there is the self-discovery program, but there's also like a teacher's manual.
Yes.
That helps the teacher.
Yep.
That's wonderful. I mean, you're even thinking about
the
teacher who's going to teach it.
Of course.
Yeah.
You've got to think about that as well.
Yeah.
If I didn't do that, then the program would have just fell flat.
Yes.
So I had to create something where, okay, I'm going, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
So now I've got to create something for the facilitators. So when I go, they've got something to go off on.
Yeah.
Especially on such a program, you need to actually have guidance through that. And a lot of the stuff was, I incorporate a lot of stuff through my journey and, through what I've been through how I've changed as well. And through some of the topics we need to start looking at, like our views on life.
Yeah.
We need to start to understand our own values, our own morals, our principles. What motivates us in life? Where do we obtain inspiration?
Yeah.
What are our weaknesses? What are our strengths? We talk about the mindset and
Were you inspired? I've got a couple of. Maybe they're pretty bad questions. They're going to be maybe weird questions, but I'll try and to keep in line with our truth-telling and hard-hitting podcast. Were you inspired on the inside? I know you had your friend, but just the fact of being on the inside, being in prison, did anything about that inspire you? Like, for example, wow, here are so many people here that I could be helping. Or, for example, wow, I really appreciate more my freedom. And, excuse my ignorance with these questions. Did anything inspire you on the inside?
A lot of things inspired me. Change is one of them. I was inspired through change. I was inspired through some of the hardship and journey that some people were on and some of the things that they've been through.
Yeah.
I was inspired I was more so motivated to want more, to want different, so something that inspires us will motivate us, and if it's going to motivate us, we can draw influence from it. We can,
And look, I'm trying to win a prize here for the world's weirdest question, but it's just a curious question. Were you sad in any way when you left prison?
I was actually. I was, yes.
Yeah?
I was sad because I'm leaving behind such great men as well. Because we look at prison, we're just criminals and bad people, but you get some really genuine people. Some fantastic people. I've met a lot of leaders and a lot of people that I look up to in prison. That are in for little things they shouldn't be in there for. And but I was actually sad because all the work that I've done, and it was where I found myself.
Yeah.
And that was where the true journey started of change, growth, and development, was actually being in prison. And I look back on it, and it's like, wow. And this reminds me of it as well. That's why this was at the start of my journey, and it's been with me since I was released. And
and just to cut you off there, just for people who are not watching this video but perhaps listening to the audio, we're just now referring to Laurence's plait that he wove from yarns of wool, red, black, and yellow, and you're just talking about how that has become an artifact, something that has really given you strength now.
Of course. But saying goodbye to some of the people in prison, and some of the people that were in my program as well.
Yeah.
I was sad. 100%. I was sad. It was an exciting, but it was a sad time as well.
Yeah.
Leaving behind people. But we're all on our journeys, and we're all on our ways. My journey from prison, it ended. It ended. So, and other people's are just beginning, unfortunately, for some people.
Yeah. Now, mate, I'm going to put you in the toughest position ever.
Yes.
Just to finish this podcast, what would you say at the moment to anyone, anywhere in the world, who is on the inside, who is incarcerated in this moment?
I would say use the time very wisely, because it's not a waste of time, it's an opportunity to find yourself. Because all you have is time. So do the work, and you'll come out, hopefully, a different man or a different woman.
Mate, I thank you so much, and thanks for joining me today.
Thank you.
Will you join me for the last episode in our 10-episode podcast, episode 10? Do not miss it.
Looking forward to it.